Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. And I'm here to tell you that if you enjoy the show in any capacity at all, maybe I'm funny, maybe I have good guests, maybe, I don't know, sometimes I'm interesting, whatever. If there's anything that you like about this show, please hit that follow button, that subscribe button, wherever you're listening. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like the videos, you subscribe to the channel, you comment, and you share. I am tired of working menial jobs and would love to speed up the process of making some money on this goddamn thing. So please like, comment, subscribe, share, tell everyone about us wherever you listen to the show. Follow it. Makes a huge difference. Thank you guys. Enjoy the episode. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the show yet again on this Monday post Thanksgiving. It's actually Cyber Monday, right? Wow, imagine that. I'm always doing episodes on holidays, on these great, phenomenal American holidays. It's crazy because I went out for Black Friday. I didn't go out early because around here in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, really, there was no midnight opening, which is crazy, right? But even then, I went out to this real big shopping plaza that we have over here. And years ago, even in the daytime, it would be mobbed. I probably got there around middle of the day, 12 p.m. And there was nobody there. It was easy. There was very little lines. Shit was crazy. People must still be scared of the vid. That's got to be what it is, right? Because big mobs of people. I don't know. Then again, I feel like there might not have been a huge stress on it this year in terms of Black Friday. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV or whatever, but I didn't really see people going crazy about it on social media or anything. Black Friday sale, come here. There's no ads. Just because you don't watch TV, it doesn't mean you don't get hit with ads. I didn't see a lot of Black Friday ads at all. And what TV I did see, there's nothing really hitting me. So I don't know. I think that's a step in the right direction. Fuck that shit. But with this whole shipment and pipeline nonsense with things hanging out on boats and whatever, you'd think that people would want to go rush to the store and get the tangible thing rather than wait till today and order something now and probably get it who knows when, right? I don't know. I was actually happy because, as you all know, I trash Black Friday and I shit on Black Friday all the time. And it was probably fun when I was a kid, right? When I was a little younger, we'd all go out and wait in line in the cold. And yeah, but now I was dreading the idea of doing that. And it ended up raining and it was very shitty anyway. So me and my brother, we were supposed to go early and we didn't go, thank God, because it was going to be mobbed. Probably earlier, right? I would think it would be mobbed. But anyway, shit doesn't matter. I was happy. I was able to get a TV for the podcast, which is going to be cool. So now when I have Zoom guests, it'll be right here in front of me instead of me looking down at my laptop. It'll look cool. We can put shit up on the television there through AirPlay. AirPlay, what a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. AirPlay. But yeah, I had a successful little Black. I got some new books, which I'm excited about. I've already made a list of all the books that I have to read before I get new ones, which is basically all the ones I have. There's a couple that I'm not super interested in, but most of them I do need to read them. I got a book on Charles Manson, and I think it said something about the secret, the secret society of the 60s or some shit, which is dope. I've always been interested in that generation. Crazy shit happened, right? That was the generation of the serial killer. There's serial killers popping up all over the country, man. That was crazy. And now there's no real serial killers. It's just people do crazy shit out in public, right? Serial killing is like it's a lost art, I think. You know, it's a lost art with all this social media and all this stuff, which has already destroyed so many things, right? And now, no more good serial killers. Back in those days, there was a serial killer every other week. Especially in Los Angeles, right? A cult leader, a serial killer. People are too normie now, right? It's too lame. Nobody's going and creeping in windows and really putting in the work to be a real serial killer, right? Scoping out the area, making sure there's nobody, making sure there's no witnesses, getting a feel for the area at different parts of the day. When is it less populated? When is it more likely for somebody to catch you sneaking into somebody's house and murdering them? That takes time, right? We take it for granted because there's not really any serial killers anymore. We must have caught them all. But there's no more publicized ones, right? No, we don't talk about that. There probably are serial killers now that I think about it. But instead, let's talk about, nonsense, right? More or less. That's more or less what's being talked about in the news is nonsense. You don't need me to tell you that. But let's inform people about the vaccine every day. Let's talk about, the trial of a kid that was run completely wrong. And not to mention all the misinformation that people have about, and I'm not even going to get into that. My point here is that there probably are some serial killers. We just don't talk about them anymore, right? We might just find them and throw them away. But it is interesting, right? The idea of being a serial killer. You just do it all the time. Serial killer. You go out and kill. That's like a lost, it's like a blacksmith. Nobody's a blacksmith anymore. That's a terrible job. Only people that are blacksmiths are weirdos out in places where people would buy that shit, It's and their Super Bowl is that show, Forged in Fire, which I tried to get into, but it's tough, right? It's weird. There's just a bunch of people in overalls and rubber gloves clanging on things, setting them on fire. I don't know. It's strange. It's a lost art. Go to Walmart and get a fucking shovel, all right? You don't got to build one. I understand it's this and that. But, again, it's what about a cooper? A cooper, is that even a job anymore? That used to be a craft for ages, right? A barrel maker. They'd have to wet the wood and get it to a certain thing so that they could bend it and form it. That's hard. But nothing's made out of wood anymore, right? Even the things that are made out of wood, nobody buys them. What's made out of wood? The most common thing that people own that are made out of wood is probably a spoon, right? And, tables, a kitchen set, specifically, kitchen or dining set. But think about it. Back in the day, everything was made of wood. The entirety of the house was made of wood. Now we have wood, what's it called? Wood framing, right? But barrels are not one of the things that are made of wood. It's funny because as I was thinking of things that are made of wood, I'm looking at a bunch of shit in this room that are actually made of wood. But barrels are not. So coopers, nothing, right? Blacksmiths, coopers, even cobblers, right? Now it's like a resurgence. It's not even called cobblers. Like cobblers used to be people who would fix shoes. Now it's like people who clean shoes, and there's a market for that. Cleaning and restoring and customizing sneakers. There's definitely a market for that. But cobbler, not really. Serial killer. You got to put that in there. Serial killer. There's not. So that was one of the books, right? Charles Manson in the 60s and really interesting time. Time that I wish I was around in, right? Sounds like a lot of fun. Drugs, rock and roll, and killings all the time. Cults. Seems very interesting. Not as cool as now. The cults now are like mainstream. These were when cults were, still kind of frowned upon. Now everybody wants to be a part of a cult. They don't call them cults, but that's what it is, right? What do you need for a cult? You need a group of people to follow an ideology that was created by one person or a group of people, right? And that's kind of how it's been with COVID. It's definitely been that way with politics, like more so than ever, right? Very much of the left type of craziness going on, and this is an observation that I should say more of a realization that I hadn't come to until I heard it, and it was on, of course, the Joe Rogan Experience, and they were talking about how there's been a huge flip-flop with how right-wing people are now trying to protect the things that left-wing people were meant to be, like freedom of speech and freedom of all these different things. They're trying to uphold freedoms that back in the day, they're trying to switch up. Or back in the day, they were trying to refute, I should say. Now, they're all for them because of this crazy left-wing woke idea of all inclusiveness and I don't know, everybody has to have this ideology, and if you're not, then fuck you. Like, literally diminished, you're canceled. The canceling of people is a cancer. This canceling is a cancer. It's terrible. It's diminishing art and artistry, right? It's diminishing the character of people. We're people. We say shit. Sometimes we say shit to be funny. Sometimes we say shit to be serious, but it doesn't mean action will ever be taken behind it. And that's what's going crazy right now. It's going crazy. But anyway, back to my Black Friday escapades. Another book that I got is one that it's on a topic that I've been interested in but haven't been able to dive into because I'm not sure where to start. And that is The Frontier, the first frontier in America, expanding out west. And this has to do with Red Cloud, who was I guess a famous Native American chief. I know nothing about him, which is why I bought the book. It seemed fucking cool. And that's that. That's motherfucking that. I bought that on the day after Thanksgiving, a notoriously brutal day for Native Americans. Brutal. They don't support it. They don't want anything to do with it. In fact, they have their own holiday, the National Day of Mourning, in case you people don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about it except for that it goes down. There's a big thing that happens in Plymouth, which I don't live too far from, relatively, and they all hang out and they talk about the injustices that Native Americans had suffered, and probably still continue to suffer. And I'm not trying to be I don't know, an expert on this. I did have a professor on here and we spoke, but nonetheless, Native Americans and cowboys and all that shit has always interested me as a kid. I never got into it, but now, as a big, strong adult, I can go out and I can learn whatever the fuck I want to learn. And I encourage people to do that when it comes to reading, because reading has gotten so... It's another lost art. Blacksmithing, cobblers, glass blowing, serial killers, reading. Top 5, right? It's nothing now, right? Nobody wants to read. Nobody wants to really read. And I don't even mean just books, but an article. If I just read the headline of an article, I feel as though I can't really say much about it because I didn't read any more about it. And then I didn't follow up on the follow-up article. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like an imposter if I start talking about that shit. I need to read the whole thing. Meanwhile, there's people who read a status, right? Or a tweet by somebody, and they take that and run with it. Goddamn right, those whatever people are doing this, and this is wrong, and that, and bop, boop, boop. For the longest time, I thought Kyle Rittenhouse killed black people. If I'm being honest, right? I thought he slaughtered black people in the street. Is that the Mandela effect? Is that what that is? But, it turns out that they weren't. Not saying that it would, it's good or bad, regardless of the race or the color of the person. You know what I'm saying? It's obviously a terrible fucking thing. It's not, I shouldn't say worse. I shouldn't say good or bad. I should say bad or worse. But nonetheless, there's a common misconception right there. The Mandela effect. That's a real thing. Now, I don't even know why the fuck I got on this tangent. Who gives a fuck? It's Monday. Why am I even talking about any of this shit? This is supposed to be a nice podcast. It's supposed to get you all ready for the week. I'm going to switch up topics now effortlessly because I am the king of this shit. But recently I've been having a battle of focus, right? A battle of focus, a battle that many of us see. And it's a crazy thing, focus, right? The idea of being able to hone all your energy on whatever task that is at hand. Focusing. And the fact that length of time makes it much harder. I'll give you an example. I went for a run the other day. And I don't run super often. I wouldn't say I'm an avid runner, but I grew up running, trying to lose weight running, trying to gain cardio running. So from time to time, I will run. And it was hard. It was very hard. And the entire time, I'm like, you have to stay focused. I'm reminding myself. But eventually, it broke. Eventually, it stopped, right? The ability to focus had stopped because my body's ability to block out whatever was bothering me. It wasn't my breathing, it was my legs being fatigued, more or less. And the pain in my ankles and in my knees, and I wasn't really running far, but I was running hard, and my form is probably not good. So shit happens, and a lot of it was realized. In that moment, I had realized, wow, focus is something that we all take for granted. It's a mind function, a brain function that we kind of look over because we only have to do it for certain things. We feel that we only have to do it for certain things. You're at a job, it's a new job, it's you're on a job site, you're a plumber or some shit, and you're focusing when you're doing things. Until those things become muscle memory, then sometimes you don't even focus. But if you're good, you focus all the way through. You only do it when you're doing a job. You only do it when you're trying to attack a task. And the harder it is, the more you have to focus, the more you have to use your brain, or the less you focus because it's that much harder. But to do it, to sustain it over time, in the nuances of life, understanding that right now this is a part of a journey, this is a blip on the radar of what your life is going to end up being, regardless, good or bad. So knowing that and staying focused on whatever path you've set out for yourself, whether it's to move up in your job, or whether it's to start a new business but gain experience right now, whether it's to build, Jesus, fuck this fly, whether it's to build your skills in something that eventually you want to monetize, whatever it is, there comes a moment where you just have to say, fuck everything else, and we have to stay focused. We have to stay focused. Fuck the gift buying, fuck the food that tastes good, fuck all that shit. Let's stay focused and sustain it. Sustainability is the hardest thing when it comes to focus. Those two, they don't match. They don't match up. But when you can get them to match up, shit, that is a recipe for success. Once you stop thinking about things, man. Oh, it's so hard for someone like me, and I'm sure it's hard for most of us, to quiet the things that just stop us. The things that take our focus off. But recognizing those things and saying, fuck you, and not giving in, that's important. That's important, man. It is. Another thing that I wanted to bring up was this idea of what's possible. We all have these ideas of what's possible. And I think some of us are closed-minded, right? A lot of the times we hear it from our parents. Some people have phenomenally supportive parents. They support whatever their offspring does. Not saying that mine doesn't, but their idea of what's possible is different than mine. And a lot of people come into this, and they allow what they've been told is possible to control what they can do, to control what they maybe once thought was possible, and let all that shit influence them. And now they're like, I'll just get a job, And that's another hard thing, and it definitely comes into play with focus, because you have to kind of take that shit and let it roll off your shoulders. Yeah, whatever. You guys don't think I can do this? That's cool. I think I can do it. And, there's a lot of that shit. There's a lot of that shit in this life, and it only comes from trying and doing, but doing with the intent that this can go anywhere, right? Doing with the intent that this could blow up, this could be a moderate thing, this could be nothing. Doing it that way is a kind of a recipe for success. With clear goals, you need goals, right, to keep you on the path. But that overthinking, I'm really trying to combat it, man. It's a cancer for a lot of people, and a lot of us live in our heads. I'm one of those people who live in our heads. You know, we talk to ourselves, we respond, we like what we have to say to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's what the fuck it is. We're loony bins. We're fucking cuckoos. But it's just weird. It's weird, and I am thankful to be in this generation of higher thinking. Right now, don't get me wrong. I just bitched and complained about being woke, and that's I'm differentiating the two in the sense that the woke culture is separate than this idea that there's more to life than what's been given to us or what's been told. I like to draw a line between those two things right now. This idea of canceling people and never, and compromising your art and compromising all these things just so you don't get in trouble or just so you don't lose your livelihood. That is all nonsense. That's that woke society nonsense bullshit. What I'm talking about is having a higher level of thinking in the idea that, yes, there's paths. There's paths that are carved and been walked like a motherfucker. But what about some of these other ones? You know? Our generation has been told, go to school, go to college, and that's all you can do. All you can do is go to college and get a job. That's it. Imagine the level of limiting belief that you have. What the fuck happened to the generation that raised us, that led us to believe that all we can do is go to school, get a degree, and you'll be good. Go to school, get your degree. You won't get any skills, right? You won't build too many skills. You'll learn how to manage a day and build a schedule and work overtime and you might learn some things on whatever your major is, but you won't really gain too many skills, right? Skills are gained through doing, not learning, right? You learn skills through doing. You learn application through doing. You can learn about things, but if you don't ever actually do, like if you're fortunate enough where your program has some hands-on stuff, that's great. That's where trades come in. Trades and that type of thing, because you learn on hand. Same thing with art. It's like technique and that type of thing. But when it comes to like just straight academia, you learn about stuff, definitely. But you don't learn how to do anything. So you're going to put yourself in debt. You're going to spend all this money because when you get out, you may not have skills, but you'll have something that the place where you can get skills wants, and that's your degree. And now your degree is worth whatever the fuck you get paid. Now, is that going to match up with what you spent? Probably not, right? Probably not. It's, touch and go. Unless you come from a real distinguished university or a college and you did a program that is respected widely. Like if you went to UConn for physical therapy and you got your master's or whatever, that's legitimate, right? Because they're known for, just like if I went to Rhode Island College, I went to Rhode Island College, but I went for finance. Nobody gives a fuck about Rhode Island College's finance program. That's why when that's on a resume, they're like, Rhode Island College. Okay. And then they'll look them up and say, oh, they're known for education and teaching. Oh, nice. So this guy basically spent a bunch of money and it's in the garbage, right? Now I'm fortunate I have no student debt, and if I decided to go to a bigger school, I would be in some kind of student debt, and that shit to me is not enticing. It's not cute. It doesn't make sense for me, and what if I did do that, right? And I come out with all this debt, and I come out, and the exact same thing happens. I go into being an advisor, and nothing comes of it, and now I have all this debt, and now I want to be a comic, I want to be a podcaster, and now what? Right? Now what? Now I have to work extra hard to pay for that shit on top of whatever other expenses I fucking have. So all I'm saying is I'm happy that my generation has figured out that there are other ways, right? And if whoever has kids from this generation, the next generation will be hopefully schooled in that manner and say, hey, College it's not even the right move for everybody. It's not, right? Just like the military is not the right move for everybody. A trade, opening your own business, working, I don't know, something else, figuring it out might not be the best move for everybody. They need that kind of stability to go to school and get a degree and get a job. Boom. Figured it out and they're good and they'll live their whole life like that. And that's fucking awesome. That's phenomenal. But not me. Not me. And I know some of you motherfuckers feel this way too. We want to test it out. We want to test this world out. We have to test everything. We test by doing. Right? That's a better word. Earlier on, I was alluding to trying everything, but testing everything is a better word because when you test, you do. You're not trying, you're doing. You have to test all opportunities, man. All opportunities. And then you also have to realize in this life, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can do whatever you want, regardless of what your family thinks, regardless of what you think other people will think. You can do whatever you want, man. You can go from living in New York City, hustle and bustle life in some fucking corporate office to saying fuck this and being a wildlife guard in Montana in one of the fucking state parks. You could go do that if you wanted. You could say, I don't want to do that. Let's move to Indonesia and have a little boat rental service and make money doing that. Whatever. There's so many things you can do in this world. You can go back to school, right? But there's burdens. There are burdens. And again, you can adjust your life to these burdens. And I shouldn't say burdens, but there's factors, right? Because immediately when I think of having a kid, I think of a burden. I can't do anything anymore. If I wanted to go to school, it's going to be way tougher. We got to do it's, right? But I shouldn't say burdens. I should say people have different situations. Nonetheless, things can be done. Things can be done. You can do whatever you want in this life. Don't ever think that you're stuck somewhere. Never. You're never stuck because you can change. This life is meant to be bent at our will. It is. It's very much meant to be, we should be in control of it, not it in control of us. And that's hard. That's a hard thing to grasp because we have things like money and responsibilities and families and all this stuff that pulls us in certain directions. But once you get that shit figured out, it's a game, man. You can do whatever you want. If you have a bunch of savings and you don't want to work, buy a fucking van, travel the country, come back, and maybe you'll have a different perspective on things. Not saying everybody can do that, not saying that's what people want to do, but to me, that sounds pretty goddamn cool, right? That shit sounds cool as fuck. So many people live unadventurous lives. There's no adventure. Zero. Nobody wants to go on a hike. People go to the same places for the same things all the time. I want to do different shit always. And it's been a hindrance. There's been times where it's been a hindrance, but it's also been something that separated me from other people, and that separates you from other people. If you're an adventurous person, dude, so many people lead the most boring fucking lives, man. Boring. Work, home, TV, lay down, wake up, eat, shit, work, home, TV, lay down, not trying to get better at anything, not even their job, right? Some people are fortunate enough where they have a job, where they're gaining a skill that they want to learn. I always talk about my lovely girlfriend, Caroline. She wants to be a chef and she wants to gain her skills. And yes, she's at work. Yes, it is a job, but ultimately, she wants to be a good fucking chef. She wants to be a really good chef. And she's fortunate enough there where she cares about her craft and she cares, and that's what it is. And yeah, she's working on her shit all day. That's like if I was doing comedy all day or if I was doing podcasts all day and at the end of the day I just wanted to fuck around. Hell yeah, you deserve it. If you work hard in any capacity, you deserve it. If you work, you should fucking have time to chill whenever the fuck you want. Right? If you work like a mofo, you should be able to do whatever you want at any point in time, which isn't true, unfortunately, because you have things like PTO and things like vacation time and things that restrict you from doing whatever the fuck you really want to do in this life. And always remember that you can leave all that shit behind. You can. You totally can. I have no interest in growing in a company, starting a new job in a firm and growing. I have no interest in that. No interest. I've lost it. I'm here to tell you guys that I have lost interest in becoming a finance person. I love learning about finance. I want to talk to finance people. Being an entrepreneur is still, in the back of my mind. But right now, I want to attack this comedy thing. I feel like that is something that I've wanted to do since I was a fucking kid, and it's something that I truly, truly love doing. And there's things that you truly, truly love fucking doing, and you're not doing them. You're not doing them. There's a quote I saw that people are burnt out from doing too much, but it's really from not doing enough of the things that you fucking really enjoy and love doing. Remember that shit that you used to like doing and now it's gone for whatever reason? You got too old, your knees hurt, this, that. And you replaced it with nothing. You weren't able to replace it with a goddamn thing. Why? Who knows? Only you know. And I'm telling you guys right now on this Monday motherfucking morning, Cyber Monday, buy some shit. Spend some motherfucking money. You know you want to, you dirty animals. But what I am telling you is that there's so many routes you can go in this life. Don't let anybody tell you which way to go. Unless you agree with it. If you agree with it, then fucking do it. Go ahead. And if you get to a point where that thing that you agreed on isn't what you wanted, then get the fuck out of there and don't fear it. Don't fear it. It's a part of life. It's a part of life. And I'm trying to accept this ideology myself. I'm trying to accept these ideas myself and not accept them because you got to be ready to switch on a dime. Like I said, got to be malleable. I said that last week, and that's it. Guys, thank you so much for listening on this Monday morning. Not a whole lot of humor, not a whole lot of cynicism today. We're rocking and rolling. What is this? This is the 29th of November. We're almost done, motherfuckers. We are almost done. What, 32 days and we're out of this piece? 2021 is in the rear view. Start working on those goal lists. Start working on that shit that this year you put off. You still have time. You still have time to make good on some of your goals. Even if you don't make the goal happen, you still have time to make good on the goal, which is important. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. We're going to have a great episode for Thursday, which will be December 2nd. That's going to be great. It'll be our first episode of December. And then there's only so many left after that before the new year. Thank you guys so much for listening every time. Follow the show. Links in the description. Obsessive Aggression if you want some gloves. You know the whole nine, guys. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.